Regular viewers, this is going to be something a little bit different. I'm foregoing the usual format because this is kind of outside of the scope of what I normally do and how I normally present myself on this channel. But I wanted to do something a little bit different today because I had one heck of a weekend last week. An absolutely amazing experience I want to talk about and give praise to the people who helped make that weekend come true. So, as many of you know who've followed me for years. I am a big fan of the New York Giants, but I don't believe I've ever explained why. I don't think I've ever given a definitive answer as to why I am a born and bred New York Giants fan. I don't like to get too personal on this channel. I don't like to, I guess brag or anything like that. But because last week was such an amazing experience, I feel like I should talk about it and share something with you guys in case you don't know already. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen the clip already because I've made sure to post it. But so my grandfather is Alphonse Tuffy Lehmans, who was a running back for the New York Giants back in the 30s and 40s. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and he was recently ranked as the 15th greatest player in New York Giants history. When they were doing their top 100 list, my grandpa showed up at number 15, which is just wild, absolutely wild. So a few months ago, my family was contacted, specifically my dad, was contacted about having family representatives for Da Tuffy, which is what we called him, having some kind of representation at this big event that they were planning for the season opener and honoring the top 100 players. My dad told the woman Joanne, who was very nice and wonderful to deal with and did a lot to help me pull that weekend off. She did an amazing job. So if you get no other takeaway from this video, Joanne for the New York Giants, absolutely wonderful to deal with, absolutely wonderful to talk to, and did an amazing job corralling all of us, the entire families and all the players, to make this event happen. And she deserves a lot of credit for that. She was wonderful. So my dad put her in contact with me, and I was told it could be me and a guest. I picked my sister, the other grandchild, and we ended up having a wonderful weekend celebrating 100 seasons of the New York Giants. So this was a big deal. It was very special for our family. We have been to Giants Stadium before to attend games, but never as an invited guest, never with the VIP treatment, and never for any kind of special ceremonial things. So my grandfather, who was also in the Giants Ring of Honor, he also, this shocked me a few years ago, but he held the Giants rookie rushing record for over 80 years until it was finally broken by Saquon Barkley. I was floored when that stat popped up on the screen. I don't want to mention Saquon Barkley anymore because that whole situation makes me sick that we don't have him anymore. But and by the way, no negative feelings towards Saquon at all whatsoever. It's not his fault. But I wish him all the best in Philly. Philly, you got a good one there. But he broke my grandfather's rookie rushing record, and I was just floored by it because I had no idea he still held that record. So my grandfather was a major cornerstone in the formative years of the New York Giants. World champion before the Super Bowl, before shoulder pads. This was the days of the leather helmets, and he was that kind of player. Actually, I have a picture. These are the credentials they gave us at the stadium, and yeah, that's my granddad right there. I never got to meet him. He passed away before my parents got married, but he's always felt like a big part of the family, and we've kind of kept his spirit alive through our love of the New York Giants, through the many highs and the many lows. And that was one of my regrets, because part of me, he passed before I was born, but I always thought, man, it would have been cool to watch a football game with my Hall of Fame granddad. That would have been really cool. But in any case, we get there, and it was just the whole weekend, like the entire weekend. It was two major events. It was the Fan Fest on Friday night and the game on Sunday, the home opener. The game itself was not very good. Carl Banks recently said on a podcast that him and LT were talking in the tunnel, and LT told him that it's like, you could take some of the legends that are here for this event, and they could probably go out there and play better than the current team is. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, I wish I had overheard that conversation because I would have volunteered. Because it's like, look, I might leave the field on a stretcher, but I'm at least gonna try, try to turn things around. But anyway, so we get there. We took a train up, get there to Jersey Penn Station. And they have a car waiting for us, which is like, ooh, look how fancy we are. It's just, like I was telling Kathleen, it's like, yeah, we're special. Look at us. Because we normally don't go for any kind of treatment like that. So to get like a sedan driving us around to and from the hotel was very, very cool. And it was, very nice of the Giants to provide that for us. But anyway, we're in the car, and our driver, who... we were late getting to him because our train was running late, so he was backed up because of that. So he's getting a call from his dispatcher saying, it's like, did you get him? Did you get him? It's like, yes, I have the clients. And we could overhear his dispatcher because she was on speaker, and she goes, okay, we need somebody to pick up Osi. And my sister and I turned at each other, and it's like, Osi Umenyiora? It's like our driver went to go pick up Osi Umenyiora, and it's like, oh, the stars are coming out for this one. That one really made us, get all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, because we didn't know exactly who was going to be there or what it was. So to hear Osi's going to be there, it's like, oh, okay. So it's like, yeah, the stars are definitely coming out. Get to the hotel, and see a few players walking around the hotel. Brandon Jacobs was not there Friday, but he was there on Saturday. I saw him with his family. He actually waved to us from across the lobby because he saw my, the shirt I was wearing, which was the 18 wins and 1 giant loss shirt. And, man, that man is huge in person. Brandon Jacobs is absolutely huge in person. I saw David Deal at the hotel at one point. Lawrence Taylor was staying at our hotel, and he was actually... I didn't know that until we got on the bus to go to the stadium for Friday's event. He's right there sitting in the front row, and I immediately just fanned out. As I had to shake his hand, because it's LT, for crying out loud. He's literally the greatest Giant of all time. And but anyway, we get to our hotel, get ready for the fan event, and we are there as invited guests. We're in, I guess you would call it like the luxury suite or something like that. They had a name for it. I forget what it was. And a lot of great food, and they have like a little Giants museum off to the side for all of us to see. Now, I did not get a good picture of the Lombardi trophies because I didn't see them until the end of the night when we were all walking out. I was like, oh my goodness, the Lombardis. And it was just, I didn't get a good picture of those, but we did see some pretty cool things in the museum. I got to mingle with some of the family members. I got to meet Y.A. Tittle's family. I got to meet family of Eddie Price and Dave Jennings. We got along with them really well. I say my sister and I. Ray Flaherty's family, got to meet them. We ran into them several times over the course of the weekend. Again, everybody we spoke with, it was very, very nice. But then while we're there, you start seeing some of the big names walking around. Like I saw Tiki Barber walking around, didn't get to say hi to him because he was across the room and he was corralling his kids, which was a common theme throughout the night. A lot of these people were corralling their families and their kids. My sister says that she met Hakeem Nick's family in the elevator and said they were very nice. Victor Cruz, I saw him walking around doing the rounds. My sister and I, we stepped out at one point to go kind of step outside to get a view of the field from where we were. And sure enough, out comes Eli Manning and one of his daughters, and we're all like, what in the world? Eli Manning just came out of nowhere. Got to shake his hand, say hi to him. My sister got a picture with him. And it was a very special moment getting to meet who, in my opinion, is the greatest quarterback in Giants history. To say nothing of, not to put down Phil Simms, who was also great, who I got to meet, speak with a little bit. He spoke about my granddad a little bit in some of the videos that they were releasing. He was on the panel where they talked about Dot Tuffy, and Tiki Barber was on that panel too. And they talked about him and how Tuffy Lehman's Day fell on shall we say, a key event in American history. I will leave it at that. A day that will live in infamy. We'll say that. My grandfather's special day fell on the exact same day. They were honoring him during a game, and then something happened. So, but anyway, I thanked Phil Simms for saying nice things about my granddad and things like that. Got a picture taken with him. Very nice, very cool. Everybody we talked to was very nice, and it was just, we were so like starstruck, and the entire weekend I was kind of like, I don't belong here. Like, I see all these legends walking around. I don't belong here at all. But it was very humbling to be around such great legends and such great players and even coaches. We got our pictures taken with Tom Coughlin, who was extremely nice, which is kind of surprising given how his personality is on the field. You see how he was when he was a coach, and we loved him because he had a temper, but he was extremely gracious, very, very nice, and my sister and I got a picture with him as well. Just amazing to kind of, rub shoulders with the greats a little bit, and I was a little taken aback, and I saw OC walking around at one point. I saw Corey Webster was there. I did not see him. He's one of my sister's favorites. My sister was like, she was so happy that Corey Webster got onto the top 100 because she was like, he was one of the heroes of that playoff run for Super Bowl 42, and he had to cover T.O. and Randy Moss. That man deserves all of the credit in the world for helping us win that Super Bowl, and I agree. So I know Corey Webster was there. I didn't see him up close or anything like that, and I was on the field. We'll get to the Sunday's game in a little bit, but on Friday, after we'd done our mingling and our snacking and our eating, a lot of the players were getting pulled out to do interviews. My sister and I got filmed while we were there in the box, filming an interview. I don't know if anything's going to be done with that footage. I know I had a Jack and Coke in my hand, so I probably came across as a stinking drunk, but I don't know. I don't know how that footage turned out. I have not seen it pop up anywhere, but it'll be interesting if you see that show up at some point. But I know the players were getting called off and on doing interviews and panels and things like that for the Fan Fest. But eventually, they called out the family representatives, which was just me, and because it was one person representing all the players who had passed. Or let me rephrase that, get my English. It's one family member per player that had passed, and I was the chosen representative for Tuffy Lehmans. And they bring us out onto the field, and I knew that they were going to do an on-field presentation on Friday and one on Sunday, and I had no idea the specifics of it. I just knew they were doing an on-field presentation. They bring us out here, and they give us the shirts to wear. It was a pullover shirt on Friday, and they gave us these polos on Sunday. And I looked out into the field, and they're kind of like, it's almost like if you've seen boxing or professional wrestling or anything like that, you're kind of like this aisleway for us to walk down, and fans are like slapping hands with us on the way down, and I'm like, I don't belong here. Like, why do they want to slap hands with me? I'm not important. I'm not special, but it's kind of like, it was still like kind of surreal to do that. And the players went up on stage for special presentation and an additional panel, while the family member representatives, they kind of sat, basically giving us like a front row seat to the stage. And it was like, I'm right there in the front row watching this all go down. I'm just like kind of taking this in, like, this is freaking believable, like to be here right now, an unbelievable experience. And so that wraps up Friday. Saturday, my sister and I just kind of killed time, and because there was really nothing to do. No scheduled events on the Giants side of things, so we just kind of spent the entire day roaming around and doing whatever we wanted. But then on Sunday, we had to get up really early because they got us to the stadium again by bus, and they got us there super early before the public went in, so we were able to do some shopping in the gift shop and things like that, and I could get stuff for my daughter and our dad and other family members. My wife got a little something for her, and we're shopping in the store, and Rodney Hampton's just walking around. It's like, whoa, you all are doing some shopping. And I'm like, yes, we are, Rodney Hampton. How are you today? Again, it was God. So the players I met probably thought I was the biggest dork on the planet, but it's like, it was just, I thought I was prepared for it, and I really wasn't. So for Sunday's game, they had the family representatives in a box, and they had the players in a separate like VIP box. So I didn't get to watch the game with the players, but it was a very nice accommodations what they had for us. The food was fantastic. They had us in. They also brought us into the stadium early for a big brunch where JPP and Brandon Jacobs were walking around with their, with their families and guests and eating brunch with us, and it's like, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Just, again, unreal. And we actually, funny story about JPP. He rode the bus with us back to the hotel on Friday night. And I didn't realize he was like either right behind me or kind of right next to me or something. I was just focused on let's get to the hotel, get back to our room because I was tired and I was ready to go to sleep. And there were fans standing outside the hotel like holding footballs and memorabilia and things to sign. I was like, will you sign this? Will you sign this? And I'm like, why would anybody want me to sign anything? And I look behind me and it's JPP. That they I'm like, oh yeah, go talk to JPP. You know what? Jason Pierre-Paul. Yeah, absolutely. Try to get him to sign something. You don't need my signature is less than worthless. So, so that was kind of funny. But but anyway, we get to Sunday's game. First half was absolutely horrible, as you know. Like the worst part of the entire weekend was the game itself because the Giants just played terrible, and it's there's nothing I can say that hasn't already been said. Where it's look, the offense, the defense starts hot, but then the offense can't get a rhythm. They can't get off the field. Defense gets tired, and then the other team just has their way with them all day. And it's like I don't know. They did give out these wonderful commemorative coins, which my understanding is that they were handing these out to the people in the stadium that day, and we got first dibs because we were the invited guests. So anyway, but we were about it was not long into the second quarter when they pulled us all the family representatives aside. It's like, all right, put these polos on, and we're going to go down and get ready for the on-field presentation, which there is a full video of that the Giants have posted. I will put the link in the description if you want to see that and see me on the field. And again, my imagination was like, I was kind of thinking about how are they going to present us, and I thought maybe they would do it by ranking, because they ranked the top 100 players. My grandfather was 15th. 14th was Tiki Barber. 16th was Amani Toomer. And I'm thinking, are they going to have me standing on the field with Tiki Barber and Amani Toomer next to me? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't belong. And I was like kind of mortified by that. But then it was like, we get back there, and by the way, they've got dozens of people walking around trying to get everybody in position and get everybody in order and make sure everything looks good for the camera and everything. This is for something that's not going to air on national television. This is something purely, again, like internet content, purely for the fans in attendance, and they wanted it to look as good as possible. And I was super focused on like just listen, and I'll go where they tell me to go, because I was nervous, like I'm going to slip and fall, or I'm going to say something stupid, or do something stupid. I had this idea in my head, when they announce my grandfather's name and my name, should I do like a pose or something like silly like that? And then I thought, no, I'm just going to look like the Yowza Yowza Bobowza BoJack Horseman kid. We don't need that. And so I decided to just do a simple wave and be done with that. But they lined us up by position, is what they did. So my granddad was a running back, so they lined me up with the other running backs. And they had me next to Ken Strong's son, I believe, and Tiki Barber's daughter. Tiki was not there on Sunday because he was off commentating a game. And she seemed like a really sweet kid. I did not talk to her much because I was just so in the zones, like, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't do something stupid. I must have, like, I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to pee myself or anything like that. Like, I'm looking down like, okay, nothing bad's going to happen in front of the camera. So it's like, just go out there, do your thing, and get off. And I was just super, super focused. So much so that I didn't even realize that Bill Parcells was standing next to me at one point. I just look over, oh, hey, Bill, how you doing? Just like, and I'm looking around, and Justin Tuck was there, who was not there Friday, but Justin Tuck is standing out there, and it was unbelievable. Mark Bavaro was there. Jeremy Shockey and Jason Sehorn were there. It was a little overwhelming to be around so many legends, so many greats that I cheered on for years, and then to be standing in the same area with them on the field with the fans, cheering and showing their admiration and respect for all of these players. And it was very overwhelming. I did make sure to snap a picture of my granddad's name. While I was on the field, I snapped a picture of his name up on the Ring of Honor. Number 4, Tuffy Lehman's. And speaking of number 4, I forgot to bring this up on Friday. Probably my favorite exchange of the entire weekend. My sister and I decided, let's go up and talk to John Mara, because there is a family connection there. And 3, 2, 1. So John Mara's family has owned the Giants pretty much since the beginning, and his father, Wellington Mara, scouted my granddad. The first player that he ever scouted was my granddad, and they stayed lifelong friends forever and ever. And my grandmother always spoke very highly of John Mara's dad, and they kept in contact after Tuffy had passed away. So there was definitely a family connection there. So when my sister and I went up to introduce ourselves, hey, we're Tuffy Lehman's grandchildren, his face lit up a little bit, and he was like impressed and happy to see us there. We talked a little bit about his dad and our granddad, and he talked about retiring number 4, and it's like, hey, number 1 got unretired, so maybe one day. I was like, yeah, no, ask our grandkids about unretiring number 4. For right now, let's keep number 4 retired. We're fine with that. But that was a wonderful conversation, a nice kind of meeting, generational family relationship kind of, because again, his dad and our granddad were friends, and it was nice to kind of connect with him a little bit and have a nice little conversation with him. So that was kind of cool. So anyway, back to the on-field presentation. I'm on there on the field. They announce us, and again, I'm looking down the line. Thank God I was next to Tiki Barber's daughter and Ken Strong, because if they had put me next to like Brandon Jacobs or Ahmad Bradshaw, another fun moment I caught. Ahmad Bradshaw and Tom Coughlin, they had like a big hug and greeted each other very, very warmly. It was very sweet to see while we were all back there getting ready and getting lined up. So that was a sweet moment. That was sweet to see that. But anyway, so if they lined me up next to Brandon Jacobs or Ahmad Bradshaw or Otis Anderson or Rodney Hampton or those type of guys, I would have been like, again, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things doesn't belong. And if Tiki had been there, I would have been next to Tiki Barber, which would have been absolutely insane. I don't know if I wouldn't have looked good. So, but anyway, it was a little overwhelming to be there on the field with so many legends, so many great players, and to be there in front of that many people. Now, this is before the stadium had emptied out, because like by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, the stadium was virtually empty. Excuse me, and there were more Minnesota fans in attendance than Giants fans, unfortunately. Like, you could see it. Like, we were watching from the box, and we're looking. It's like, they're falling out, aren't they? It was a pretty depressing game, but the halftime presentation was awesome, and it was an amazing experience to be there on the field, and unreal to be in front of that many people. When I was younger, I had severe stage fright, and I kind of felt like it was coming back. Being like, there are so many people here. Oh my goodness. But again, it was an amazing experience, and I thank you to the New York Giants for setting up something so special for us. And one more funny story about this weekend. We were in the box watching the game, and my sister looks over next to us, over to the left, to the next box over, and she goes, "That's Roger Goodell." And yeah, we were placed next to Roger Goodell. Our two boxes were next to each other. We're looking at him, and I'm like, if we weren't invited guests of the Giants, I would be tempted to start giving him crap. It's like, I kind of want to give him crap. And the closest we came to giving him crap was, we were talking about the changes to the kickoffs, and I was sitting there like, man, what's the point of kickoffs now when you're doing all this stuff? And Kathleen was like, my sister, Kathleen was like, I don't know, why don't you ask the guy in the box next to him? So there was that. But I wanted to, I was tempted, like the troll inside my brain wanted to be a little bit worse to him, but it's like, no, we're invited guests, gotta behave, don't get drunk, don't get silly, don't get mean, just sit there and have a good time and do what you're told. So we did that, but it was super funny that we looked over and was like, oh hey, it's Roger Goodell, look at that, the most beloved man in sports. But anyway, once again, just thank you so much to the New York Giants for honoring my granddad and inviting us up there to participate in honoring our granddad and all of the great players. And thank you to all the great players and coaches and staff that we met that weekend, the families of the players. You all were wonderful. It was an amazing weekend, and I couldn't have been happier with how it turned out. It was one of the most exciting experiences in my life. And again, the halftime presentation, Link to it is in the description. The Giants have provided. Oh, there was also a drone show that they did on Friday night. That was incredible. That was great. I think they posted a full video of that too. I'll provide that in the description as well. But that is all I have for you now. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and go Giants. I mean, after game one, it can only go up from here, right?